You are listening to The Shadow of Islam, a new perspective. Join us as we discover the Islamic dilemma, the deceptions and false teachings of Islam, so that you can be more equipped to present the gospel of Jesus Christ to this faith group. Good day and welcome to another episode of A Shadow of Islam. We continue our series looking at the tactic of diversion, or also known as taqiyya. This is lying to Muslims in order to promote Islam. How this is done is the Muslim apologists refocus attention away from the fundamental flaws and issues of their faith, so they're not questioned about it because they don't have the answers. Here's a perfect example.
The second point is the Quran clearly confirms the corruption of the scriptures of the Jews and Christians. Okay, and that can be seen in chapter 2, verse 79.
This is possibly the weakest argument any Muslim can come up with, because they need to show who, when and where the biblical narrative was changed. We see that Jesus, according to the Quran, had the Torah in his hands. We have the manuscript evidence to show the Bible we have today is the same as the Dead Sea Scrolls, which dated 400 years before Jesus' time. So this is just another assumption made by Muslims. Why? It diverts the attention away from the Quran. Because if we have a look at what the Quran has done, or who wrote the Quran, we find that it was Uthman who wrote the Quran, burnt the originals. And why? Because the 10 reciters which were around, who had learnt the Quran from Muhammad, had changed it.
Or verse 157, where the doctrine of the crucifixion is denied categorically, right? That means the 4 Gospels are corrupt. They have this information on the crucifixion which is not true, which is not correct. So the Quran is categorical about that.
So the Quran is categorical about the false statement that Jesus Christ died on the cross and rose again. Quite interesting that this is against all historical records. And because the Quran says so, it must be true. Yet, Muslims have failed totally to be able to show this. And which is far more important is that for more than 2,000 years, people have been trying to disprove the death and resurrection of Jesus Christ. And no one yet has come up with any evidence to do so. Ahmad Rashid makes this assumption, yet fails to offer any supporting evidence to do so. You know what's so great about Christianity when you hear claims like this, is that we don't even need to go to the biblical narrative to confirm false claims like what Ahmad is making here. Roman historian in the 1st century Tacitus confirms the death and resurrection of Jesus. The Jewish historian, who also argues Jesus' death and resurrection, Josephus, also confirms Jesus' death and resurrection. And there are a number of others, like Polycarp, who also confirm this. We have the historical record of Jesus' death and resurrection, yet the Quran and Allah deny history. And if your God is denying actual history, what is your faith based on? What's interesting here is we can use the same methodology in current history and also try and deny 9/11 never ever happened. Why? Because I say so. How do I know that's true? Because it's written in the Quran. Crazy, isn't it? And this is what the Islamic God Allah claims. History does not happen. Thank you for listening to another episode of A Shadow of Islam, a true perspective. For those of you who'd like to support our channel, please go to www.patreon.com/diggingdeepersa. And for our Muslim friends out there, I ask you and urge you, please deal with the information given to today. Your eternity is based on it.